actually is good when you listen to it.
Jesus, yeah, it's like a 2-minute long. I look for a sound
It's one of the greatest things ever.
2 minutes long. That's the whole song.
And I'm vibing out to it.
Going up Todd after dinner. Don't eat so much you get lethargic, but eat enough that you don't get fainty. 'Cause I do not bring snacks.
The streets will run red with my blood. He's like, I do not bring snacks. Oh, that's great.
So I talked to Michaela.
Yeah.
She's down. She'll meet up with us sometime.
Yeah, I'm gonna find a professional studio first. I wanna.
Well, she's doing Winterfest in Wellington with Vanilla Ice again.
Sweet.
And she said that, she's like, well, maybe if you guys wanted to come, she could get us backstage and shit.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so.
I'm down to go, man.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Listen, I love
I'd get all of us in. Well, you said you know a singer. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I didn't know you were gonna be like, oh. I said, I'll
top 8 on the voice. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
That's amazing.
No, it was funny. The one that me and her got really fucked up. We were downtown Clematis, and we went into Kapow Noodles. And Kapow Noodles has a fucking amateur night, karaoke night. And like we went in there, and we're sitting in there, and she goes, I think I'll go up and sing. And like it's all these amateur guys. It's like people singing like Journey, Don't Stop Fuck Believin', all that shit. And then she goes up there, and like she's like, what should I sing? And I was looking at all the lists. I was like, do Rolling in the Deep by Adele. And she's like, okay, I can do that. And I was like, all right. And dude fucking murdered it. Dude, she stopped fucking traffic on Clematis. Like, people were like, what the fuck is going on in there?
That's amazing.
She's like, you could have had it all. And I was like, oh my God. I was just sitting there laughing my ass off because I was like, dude, these people had no idea. Like, amateur fucking night. And this girl walks in, just destroys it. Like, top 8 on The Voice.
All right, whenever you boys are ready.
I think so. This is how it starts. No.
I need my names up here. Where's my names for the thing?
Which button is the?
Oh, there we go. Yes, I can see what all the.
Which button is the Hulk?
Hulk? Oh,
should have made it green. If you didn't make it green, fucked
up.
I can make it green.
No,
damn,
it's all good.
Hulk is green.
Hulk is green. All right, we're ready, man.
But which green? Is it like the neon green? Or
Well,
is it
yeah. See, now I got to change the
is it
the
that
Sorbo,
like Ninja Turtle green down there in the bottom left?
I don't know what color is generally disappointment. Magenta is magenta. That looks like disappointment.
Magenta could be disappointment, or that orange or yellow. Because whenever you open,
I don't know what's your favorite color. That's disappointment. Bro, we need to let's go.
Oh, I'm already recording. I started recording as soon as we got everything set up and sit down.
Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom podcast with your host, Nelson.
The Ian.
Ed. He attacks us again. So I was thinking today we definitely go into discussing some consoles, favorites, things we liked about them, things we didn't like so much about them. But before that, let's start off with a little bit of fun, what we seen or maybe played over the week. How about you, Ian? Anything interesting?
I got two. I saw something and I played something this week.
Oh shit! What's her name?
Well, actually, her name is Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Thanks to you guys, you turned me on Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn on HBO. This thing has been in my suggested watch box for like weeks. I watch all the animated DC shit that HBO Max is putting out. And by the way, if you're not watching it, you're missing out. DC is killing it in the animated game. Marvel might own the live action box office, but DC has far superior animated films.
I agree 100%. And for a very long time, too, they put out really great content as far as cartoons.
It's really only known by the fans that the animated stuff that DC doing is tremendous, and it's just everything else where they just kind of sort of keep dropping the ball.
You suggest it to your standard beer drinking, red-blooded American. I ain't watching no goddamn cartoon. But I'm telling you, when I saw it, my first thing was like, okay, wait a minute, it's animated. I was like, it's probably like a Teen Titans, more like a TV 14 Max type thing. Nope, I was fucking wrong. From the get-go, TVMA, adults only, this shit hit hard. I was laughing I almost pissed myself on you guys' couch the first time I watched it. In like a couple days, I'm already halfway through season 2. If you guys aren't checking it out on HBO Max, you're missing out. You gotta check out Harley Quinn. That's my seen it. Also, I have played it as well.
All right, and what's this?
I've been playing Legend of Mana Remastered on the PlayStation 4. You can download it off the network. They took a game from the 90s. It's a classic Squaresoft RPG, beautiful painted backgrounds, typical JRPG hack and slash action RPG style.
Okay.
Story and soundtrack are some of the best of all time. They kept the 16-bit like characters, but they completely HD remastered the backgrounds and the bosses.
Nice.
It's
so they
just
Sega Genesis did.
Yes, it's a walk down. Nice term. It's a walk down memory lane for me. It's a lot of fun. I've been dumping hours into it. If you're a fan of the old RPGs, or if you just want to try something out for like a weekend play, Legend of Mana Remastered. That's my scene. That's my play.
Excellent. All right. Well, for me, I went back in. I actually rewatched a couple of episodes of Loki, refreshed myself. Loved the whole series altogether. Sometimes some of those series are so deep because they'll make you go back and watch the episode 2 or 3 times to catch those little things,
so
those little
many
Easter
little
eggs,
bits
so
and
little
pieces
yeah.
hidden.
I mean, Alligator Loki, definitely the star of the show.
They knew it ahead of time. They knew it ahead of time because they had the pop ready to go.
Oh yeah, they knew what they were doing, and they even sneaked in a little frog Thor in there. If you don't know, he actually has his own comic book series run as the Almighty Frog Thor, I believe. I don't know
how the hell are they gonna make
name of
Loki an alligator and fucking the God of Thunder a frog?
Apparently there was.
He's more agile. I mean, if you think about it.
Apparently there was a cut scene. The throne scene was supposed to be where we get Frog Thor first introduced to us, but it ended up getting cut, plausibly to be moved into the second season, because I think it was supposed to be more episodes, but COVID shut down a chunk of the production, so they cut the season in half, and during the second half of the season, a couple movies down the line here.
So even the mighty Asgardians are not safe from the COVID epidemic.
No. That Bifrost Bridge brings everything to them.
Oh, it goes straight to the source.
Everything. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. We lost a lot of Asgardians this year. Shout out to the Asgardians that fell in 2020 due to the COVID epidemic.
As far as Loki is concerned, the show is great, but more importantly, what the implications are with the character Kang. People are going to see him coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a very big way. How long, though? I don't think he's going to be their main villain. I believe, actually, he's going to be their entry-level villain. Because what I've been reading is that Kang is going to be the major villain for Avengers 5.
Oh, shit.
So the way that they're playing it off is he's going to be the bringer of death, like the multi-timeline badass that starts a huge problem and then I believe kind of gets beaten and leaving everybody with like, pick up that bag of shit.
Now I'm gonna catch some shit for this from a lot of Marvel fans, but who refresh my memory. Just fill me in on Kang. Fill me in on him a little bit.
Is a descendant of Reed Richards.
Okay.
So he's genius intellect, and he basically builds himself some suits to increase his abilities, and he controls the timeline.
Yeah, so he actually works with other versions of himself across the timeline in order to increase his knowledge and his power.
So spoiler alert, the multiverse, everything that's being introduced now with Loki and the future Doctor Strange. So Reed Richards, Kang is a descendant of him, like in the future?
Correct.
Or
yes.
So down the line, from Reed Richards' line, there's some guy that's like...
Yes. So the multiverse war is essentially Kang versus Kang. It's not a multiverse war. It's one giant ego asshole versus other versions of himself.
Yes. And in that process, it trickles down into destroying the timelines in these unforeseen ways and creating havoc all across the board. But with that said, if he's going to be the entry-level villain, I can only imagine who they're going to use as like an end-game villain.
So break it down for like, meathead dum-dums like me. Thanos versus Kang. Who's a bigger threat to the Marvel Universe?
Kang, in certain versions of comics, kills Thanos with one hand.
Okay, all right, good.
Doesn't lift a finger.
Thank you for putting that in simple terms for me.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
There's different versions of there's versions of Kang that's actually a good guy who starts the Young Avengers. There's versions of Kang like Immortus, who was very much like the show version of Kang that we had, where he wasn't necessarily evil. he was the necessary evil to keep the war at bay.
Right.
And then you have versions of Kang where it's Kang the Conqueror. He's the guy trying to take over everything.
So vanishing Time Lord dude at the end of Loki?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Who remains. Not only that, his baddies that he travels with are far a greater threat than Thanos' team.
You mean
So he has a team of time traveling
Squidward?
assholes that come with him. And like they would make
Squidward and Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
From the Avengers? All right, got it.
They would make Doctor Who cry in his sleep. So
Okay,
it's
got
like,
it. Got it.
It should be interesting because they could easily bring this into Secret Wars. They could easily bring the Young Avengers where they have the good version of Kang from the future come back to the past to prevent himself from becoming the evil version of Kang.
Right.
There's so many different angles
Wow.
they can take it in. He can be entry-level villain. They can have him entry-level, have somebody bigger come in, and then have him come back on the end as the Conqueror and just be a monster.
So what you're saying is Tony Stark is coming back. He's coming back.
What they did was they really opened the door to make the Avengers whoever they want. They can essentially say that, hey, somebody moved the chair. Now it wasn't Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man. It's somebody else.
The good
Ferris
version,
Bueller could come in as Iron Man.
The good version of Kang is Iron Lad. He is a version of Iron Man at the same time. So he comes back, becomes the protege essentially of Iron Man, and that's the good version of Kang. So he could very plausibly be the next Iron Man if they don't go with Ironheart, who they've already kind of introduced.
A lot of
to
room
some
for
extent.
a lot of room for political correctness and
Yes.
gender fluidity here. In a sense, and
They can essentially bring Scarlett Johansson back if they wanted to because of what's playing out here.
like a non-binary Hulk, like
yes.
gender fluid Hulk.
Yeah, I think if they bring another Black Widow, they're gonna bring the sister in.
No,
to
yeah,
play-
I think they are
play
going to bring the
together.
sister in, but they can essentially do like a cameo where like, oh no, we need the real Black Widow,
Yeah.
like
The Black Widow.
yes,
We got it. I got it.
Yeah, by having Kang,
Halle
they can
Berry, you're up.
easily
Yeah.
dip into any
the
of the
worst
past.
Catwoman of all time, by the way. The worst Catwoman. And I love Halle Berry. I think she's great. I think she's a great actress. That costume was hideous. Like, Catwoman is supposed to portray like a sexy character. She put that thing on. I was like, who gave her the Dollar General Catwoman costume? This is some bullshit.
It was a really made-at-home outfit.
Oh, it was. It was shit, is what it was. Somebody put that on her, like, you look amazing.
That's the problem with having too many yes men in your entourage.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is the worst. Now, what about you, Ed? Anything interesting?
So currently, I've been still playing Yakuza. When they release Like a Dragon onto Game Pass, I had downloaded it because I was gonna dip into the Yakuza games.
I heard a lot of good things about that one.
It is a great game. I'm enjoying it. There's a few things that are very Japanese RPG heavy. Like the cutscenes are long enough that my controller will turn off.
You have my attention.
And I have to turn it back on because it's like it's been sitting for so long. It's like, the couple of times they're like, oh, they can end the game. Oh, it's not done. Oh, they can end. Oh, no, it's not done. And it keeps going. But it's a solid entry into the franchise, and it is turn-based. The previous games were not turn-based; they were actually action RPGs, and it was
Almost like a fighting game.
correct. So apparently, it was an April Fool's joke where they said they were going to release it as a turn-based, and it got so much publicity and fanfare that they went and
They had to do
retooled the
it.
game
Oh, wow.
and turned it into a turn-based game. So, considering that they did that after the game was essentially created, I am really looking forward to see what they do with the next one, where they build the entire game based on it's going to be a turn-based.
Yeah, I was
game.
gonna say going forward, have they switched the whole like genre? I mean, is it now no longer action based? Are they gonna switch? I mean, because I might jump on board.
They very easily could.
Not me. It sounds like
they
a
just,
really boring game. No,
it's
So
like,
much hatred for JRPG.
you just described like a novella. Like that's the shit that like my grandmother would wake up and watch 3 hours of.
Listen,
Yakuza Like a Dragon.
it is. You got characters from previous versions of the game back from the dead. You got like, wait, no, he's not the father. He's the father. That's the son. Oh, it's
So it is a telenovela.
it really is. But it's very well done. The story is very engaging. The side stories are almost all over the top, ridiculous shit. Same thing with even the fighting system. The story itself is very serious. It's dealing with mobsters and all that. But then the fighting system is over the top. You can have like a lobster come in and fight for you. You have like a dude just in a baby outfit. Like,
I'm sold. I am sold.
Fucking ridiculous.
I'm sold.
It is an acid trip of a game.
Attack lobster.
Attack lobster, go! They're like, really serious cutscene about him saving some baby in a well, and then time to fight the villain with the lobster.
Because why not? Why not?
Go,
Sebastian,
man.
bring your ass here. Under the sea.
But I mean, if you're a fan of JRPGs, if you like that longer form of cutscene and storytelling, if you want ridiculousness in the way the fights go down, it's an excellent game. It's
that sounds good to me. I mean, I say let's jump right into it. Let's start discussing some of these consoles. And Ed, I know you have a list ready, prepared for us. But look, we could just jump right into like the Nintendo series as a franchise, because we all know and love a lot of Nintendo. They've been around for a long time.
I mean, did anybody else here start on a console that wasn't the original NES, or was that everybody's kind of?
No, I
first?
started on the NES and then went back and played Atari.
We had an Atari 2600 and also a Sega Master System in our house.
Before the NES, or
around the same time.
Around the same time, but I think we got the NES first. And I will say this: when the NES was in the house, whether it was first, second, or third, it was the console that we played.
Yeah.
When Mario Brothers,
it may have been the console that we had games for.
Yes,
but it was it was the console that we played.
Yeah.
To me, it was that original NES. You know, it came. You get the bright orange gun for Duck Hunt.
Yes.
You know, it came with Tetris. You had your Mario, and I think the NES, it's responsible for launching so many great series. I mean, if you look at like the titles, I mean, they haven't stood the test of time, obviously, because they're all 8-bit original stuff. But I mean, Legend of Zelda, the original one, the original Final Fantasy. You got Dragon Quest. You had Donkey Kong, where it was Mario climbing up the ladders, trying to, and Castlevania. It started so many great series.
Contra.
Yeah, that to this day, day, are still.
Even though the graphics or some of the older platform styles have grown because they haven't disappeared, they really gave birth to a lot of what we play now, and the characters have lived on. Like Nintendo and Super Mario are synonymous. With one another.
One of the most recognizable faces in all of like trademarking is Mario.
I mean, I think maybe the only other face that's more recognizable is Homer Simpson. Right? Like, I mean, like...
maybe. I mean,
right?
A Japanese created Italian plumber. There you go.
Yeah.
Mario.
Super stereotype Italian plumber.
I'm surprised he wasn't slanging spaghetti.
You could never create Mario today.
No.
Not at all.
Maybe Luigi, because nobody cares about him, but definitely no new Marios. Do you even remember the movie, the Super Mario movie with John Leguizamo?
I remember the movie.
Shit, yes, Dustin Hoffman as Koopa. Yeah. Who doesn't remember that fucking flaming dumpster fire?
Yo,
Jesus.
didn't we all try to love that movie?
It was the only thing you had.
It was so
Yoshi was a legit deformed raptor. Like, what were they doing? What were they trying to do?
They just pulled over like parts from like Jurassic Park. They're like, yeah, we got a raptor.
Yeah, whatever, we got a raptor.
Save some money in the budget.
Insert raptor.
I don't know what that movie had to do with the game, but it was basically just a couple of character names. Everything else was a complete shit show.
Yeah, shout out to Luigi for always backing his brother up and never getting any of the perks. Name wasn't on the game. It was always just Mario Brothers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he would die just as much. He would go along, go through the castles, and at the end, Peach went home with him.
I mean, what was it? Only
Peach went home with Mario.
One console back in the Nintendo that he finally started getting his own games.
They gave him like a Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a bad Luigi? I know there's a Wario.
A Waluigi.
There's a Waluigi.
A Waluigi. Fuck that guy. He's less known than Luigi. That's fucking so great.
That's right. They had to. They had to make a Waluigi.
He is at the bottom of the list, below the chain guy and the fire.
He's the last person to get picked for dodgeball, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I'll take the kid with the one arm in the wheelchair, and all right, fine, I'll take Waluigi.
Right. Get your ass over here, stupid.
There's so many consoles that I'd never seen before. Here's one that we did have, though. That's the Master System.
Yes.
I only remember it because half of the games looked like credit cards, and they actually went to the front of the console.
That's a straight-up tape recorder.
The top of the console.
It is.
It was a odd system. It didn't get much play, but we didn't have too many games for it. It was kind of like, it just showed up one day, and it's there. It's like, oh, yeah, there's something new to play. At least.
But like, back to the Nintendo real quick. Like, but the Nintendo, what they did really well with the consoles was they provided games. They had a huge library of games, and they were constantly putting things out. So, it brought you back to the Nintendo. Sega, for me, like, for a while, I was sworn into Sega. The Sega Genesis, when it came out, I thought it was dope because it had the games that I really liked playing. I liked their controller. I thought their 3-button controller fit in my hand really nicely.
And then when they upgraded to the 6-button.
Oh, yeah, but like games like Altered Beast, that was my shit.
Yeah,
Golden Axe.
Yeah, the Sega Genesis, it was Golden Axe. There was like a hack and slash dungeon crawler from the past.
That was a dope game.
Yes.
Oh man, but no, the Sega Genesis, to me, the only thing I really played on it was like your Sonic.
Your Sonics, yes.
And I think there was like a Terminator game.
Everybody had Sonic. He came with the console.
Yes.
He was the Mario of the Sega world.
No, but if you dive deep into like the different games that they had, I believe they even had Paperboy. Am I correct with that one?
Paperboy was Nintendo.
Was Nintendo?
That was
shit.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Okay. So they had Altered Beast, they had Streets of Rage.
Yes.
NBA arcade
Jam
classic.
was...
NBA Jams. Oh, when you play Bill Clinton?
Oh, yes.
Come on. Dunking on motherfuckers. He's on fire. Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the first...
Yes, he is.
Actually, that was a code we figured out by mistake. The 3-point line, like half-court dunking.
Yes.
Which removes anything other than just a half-court dunk from the...
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
run, dunk, run,
Yeah.
dunk, run, dunk. It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was
Took all strategy out of the game.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pass it to Bill Clinton.
But it was a fantastic gaming system. I think where they started to crumble was they really became a game about a console about peripherals. They wanted you to get the Sega CD. They wanted you to get that the alternative attachment that was kind of like
32X.
yes, the 32X.
I think when Biggie started rapping about them, that was the moment they began to crumble.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Yeah. No, it was.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
We had the Sega CD. We never had the 32X.
No.
But we had the Sega CD, and
We thought it was like cutting technology.
Yeah, it was clunky as shit to get the game to where you had to hit the reset button to actually open up to turn the Sega CD on. Instead, it was attached on, but it had no buttons to the fucking thing.
I never owned a Sega system. I was a Nintendo kid early on. You know, I was like I said, duck hunt man.
Wait, did you have a Power Glove?
The hell's it?
God, the Power Glove. There was a whole movie about the Power Glove.
How do you not know that?
Like an Infinity Gauntlet?
Oh, no, yeah.
Yes.
Basically, that
yes.
electrocuted you if you sweat in it too much. This is legit. Like, I remember the movie. Because the kid was like the best video game player in the world.
Yes.
And then he was going up against the other best video game player in the world. And they're like, to make this fair, you guys are going to have to use this new piece of technology called the Power Glove.
It was as ridiculous as it sounds.
Oh, yeah. But, like, I owned a Power Glove. It was horrendous.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Like you're holding your hand out, your hand is getting tired, and you're trying to play a video game on something that you can easily just have a fucking very light controller in your hand.
It was the first kind of motion gestures because as you moved your hands, you can move the characters. But it just never fucking worked right. So you just pressed the D-pad that was on your wrist instead.
And if you were a fat...
And then you just did the A and B with your fingers.
And if you were like a fat, sweaty kid, you just died in it.
Oh,
like,
yeah, you did. No, you could literally get electrocuted if you played in it too long and you sweat. That was one of the faults that it had.
And we're sitting here wondering why there's a downfall in the system.
So if you didn't play Sega Genesis, I believe the Super NES... was its biggest competitor, right?
Yeah.
What took it off? You definitely played Super NES. I'm
Oh
sure.
man, the Super NES. I was actually when we started this, the two of the greatest consoles in my life, and I think I might even give it to the SNES. Between the PlayStation 1 and the Super Nintendo,
Both great picks.
Yeah, were the most impactful system of my life. I remember in 1990 when they released the Super NES. I mean, now we're talking about other classics. I mean, Donkey Kong Country. We all played that one.
Oh, yeah.
Diddy Kong breaking out of the barrels. The great, Funky Kong. It was just a fantastic game. They had Super Mario World. Now Mario's got a cape. He's riding Yoshi. You know what I mean?
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, everybody had. I think that was a launch title.
Ride Yoshi?
Everyone wants to ride Yoshi. But not the deformed raptor version of the Dustin.
No. That one will murder your children.
Yeah.
It's not cute.
Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Another great game.
I mean, I'm old school, so to this day, that's still my favorite Legend of Zelda game. I
So
know
do
there's a
you
lot
know
better
how to
versions.
play an ocarina?
I do not know how to play it.
They're surprisingly simple.
I don't even know what an ocarina is.
There's 4 buttons.
No, I do. It's like that potato-looking shit with the holes in the side.
Yeah. I'll go get one from the room. I'll bring it to you.
Okay, all right. We'll try. We'll try to play an ocarina live on air.
Now, this was the same time as the Neo Geo. Does anybody actually know anyone who actually owned?
I did. I had the one friend. Remember Nick?
Yes.
He was the rich kid in the neighborhood who his parents would buy him every console, and we would be there playing. Every single game would come out. Every console, he had it. He had the Neo Geo. I believe that's Bonk's Great Adventure? The big-headed guy that beat everything up? Or was that the fighting game?
No, I've never been to Nick's house, so I don't even know, man.
You never invited him in.
No, I wasn't invited to play. Apparently, there was a Neo Geo in my circle.
There was all this fun going on.
I wasn't. Wait,
the fuck,
where's my?
Disappointed!
Yeah. What the fuck?
It's because of shit like that you weren't invited.
No, I never knew anybody that had a Neo Geo. I just, being a fighting game aficionado, I know that they launched the Fatal Fury and King of Fighters series on the Neo Geo.
The other game that they were known for that was a big hit in the arcade was Samurai Showdown. So that's
there's a very
that game was fucking
underground
amazing.
fighting game.
Yeah.
Didn't Virtua Fighter start on the Neo Geo?
Oh man,
or am I wrong about that?
It was that or the Saturn or the Dreamcast.
Because I know the big thing.
No, it was the King of Fighters.
King of Fighters. Yeah, because the big thing was the arcade games were coming out for the Neo Geo.
King of Fighters was tied in with Fatal Fury. They had the exact same characters in them. Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, Krauser, Geese, all them guys were in that.
Yeah, but Samurai Showdown, man, now I want to play. But that was one of those games where it was like, what's that? Not Basic Instinct. That's a movie with the girls.
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct. That game is so trash.
Big combos, though.
Yeah. I mean, it gets you hyped. Like, it makes you want to fight somebody, but
super hyper butthole combo.
But it really is just take the controller, pound it against your forehead as fast as you can, and you're punching out combos.
Oh yeah.
I need a game with actual inputs that I can put in and plug combos and do my thing.
Yeah, like turn the game on, pick Superman, and win. the intricate details. Yeah.
Ian's not angry about that at all.
He goes home at night and he sweats, sleeping.
300 fucking episodes into this podcast, I still won't be over that. There's no kick. There's not a kick. He floats towards you.
Listen,
the audacity of this motherfucker.
Superman doesn't have time to learn MMA.
It still frustrates me. Put your feet on the ground. Walk towards me.
All right, so let's see.
Inferior way of doing things.
Super Nintendo, that's 91, 93-ish, depending on where you were at.
Yeah.
You start rolling through Philips CDI. Don't know what the fuck that is. Turbo Duo, that's another one.
Trash.
Panasonic 3DO.
Wait. Also trash.
Was that?
Atari Jaguar. I remember the flop that was the Atari Jaguar.
I believe they said that one of the consoles that we were just looking into that was a very expensive console?
Yes.
That's what it was.
So they were supposedly going to be pushing kind of the hardware to really give you a
right,
great
but they didn't
experience.
understand that the market needed to have people playing the system in order to support it. So it's like,
which was the system that had the bumpers on the top of it for the first time? Was that the Super Nintendo that had the L and R buttons first, or was?
I believe so.
I
believe it was the
so.
Super Nintendo. Yeah,
Because I remember that's the first I ever played with L and R.
The oval controller.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
had the buttons.
They had the buttons on the top,
Yeah.
so they had the four face and then the top.
That was a game changer,
Yeah,
right? I
it
remember
was.
seeing that controller. I'm like, we need more buttons now. Oh shit, this is about to get real.
Now you had the heavy kick and the heavy punch.
Oh man,
That's right.
Yeah. No, the Super Nintendo had a lot of great games, and it was also like still around that time where it was like sitting on your sofa, playing with your friends, trying to beat the games or beat each other up in fighting games. So there was still that fun, like we need a group of people element to it.
Yeah.
You know, which has shifted in the newer consoles in good and bad ways when you get into the newer consoles. But yeah, Super Nintendo.
Super Metroid was on the Super Nintendo.
See, I never got into the Metroid
I mean,
franchise.
all of the
myself.
main Nintendo franchises come from the original Nintendo and the Super Nintendo.
Mario Kart.
All of the
started.
things that carry those that the Nintendo name, it's from those two consoles.
Yeah, arguably my favorite game of all time, Chrono Trigger, still stands the test of time to this day. Started on the Super Nintendo. So.
Nice. Sounds like an ape with a gun. Chrono Trigger, yeah. But now I think moving forward, then we dive into like the PlayStations.
Almost. You get let's see, the Genesis 2, Sega Saturn,
Sega Saturn was
then PlayStation.
okay. Then the PlayStation.
Are we gonna overlook the Game Boy, like the original brick?
Oh no,
I think handhelds is a whole separate slew of shit because you got to remember most of the handhelds were dedicated individual game consoles. There's thousands of them.
That's
Yeah.
true.
There was only a handful that were more like home consoles where you had multiple games.
Yeah, because you could just talk about Nintendo DS, Nintendo DS
True.
Plus,
Nintendo
Nintendo
kinda
DS
owns that, yeah.
Plus with 3D, and then
For a brief period, you said PSP, and then you just keep going. Nintendo.
So, I mean, the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, that was Pokemon all day long for me.
That's what
Yeah.
birthed Pokemon. That's right.
Yeah.
The original Game Boy, though, I mean, that doubled as a self-defense thing. I mean, if you got attacked, you could at least kill a small cougar
Listen,
with that.
listen,
it
original-
was
you-
a brick.
you
So
were-
if you were in the movie Deuces Wild, you were either throwing big bricks or
Yeah.
Nintendo Game Boys.
You were
off
winning
of
that
the roof.
fight unless they had the Sega handheld.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like 3 times the size.
It was pretty
But
damn
you
big.
needed a bag to walk around with
Yes.
that thing, because I remember we had a bag, we had all the games. We were big into the Genesis, and we each had one because we would fight over the
Yeah,
one.
the Game
My father was
Gear,
like,
they
"Fuck,
were
I gotta buy
monsters.
another."
Yeah.
You only had like 30 minutes of life on the original Game Boy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Listen.
Not if you did it the way we did.
We had
didn't
the
even make
battery
pack.
packs.
Yes.
I had a personal midget that would like run on like a treadmill to power mine. I'm like, come on with me.
Yeah.
yeah, the original Game Boy was rough. It was rough.
No, but look, but before we get off of Nintendo, I do want to bring up an incredible flop of a peripheral that went to the console. It was called the Nintendo Virtual Boy.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
It was like
I've
one
heard
of
of
the
it. I've
first
never-
VR systems.
No, the Virtual Boy was its own console.
No, but you
Yes.
can only play in the color red and black.
Yes. Yes. And if you played long enough, you would lose the ability to see the color red
Yes,
temporarily.
Yes. So it doubled as a psychedelic when you
Where
were
the
done.
where
You're
the
like, oh
where
my
the
God,
fuck
do
are
I
those
need-
lawsuits
Now-
at?
Now, what's
Where
his
are
name?
they at?
Josh in Pennsylvania up the
Yes.
block. He had that.
Yes.
It was surprisingly fun as long as you didn't play to the point where you couldn't see red.
Yes.
Shout out to Josh. Sorry about your color blindness. We feel for you, man. We
Yeah.
feel for you.
He's still debating whether the dress was purple or blue because he can't see colors.
You call in, Josh. We'll give you a T-shirt.
Yeah. No, but that thing, it was fun. They didn't put out a lot of games for it, but it was an incredible flop because of its obvious downfalls. I mean,
Yes.
if you can only play in 2 colors and
Yeah.
you're limited time and you can need a doctor's
Yeah.
visit when you're done.
Yeah.
Technically, black wasn't even a color it was displaying. It was only red, and then everything else was black.
Yeah.
Just because. But yeah, you had to put your face up to it, and it sat on the table with its own little stand. So it didn't even, it was so big, you couldn't put it as a helmet. You had to just lean into it. It was.
a
Yeah, we weren't-
horrendous device.
We were not ready for VR yet. as a society.
I have seen someone
still not.
dismantle it
That's
and then turn it into a handheld console so you could play the games without the VR
That
3D
sounds like
bullshit
way
effect.
Too much fucking work. I would just take
Absolutely.
it, return it to the GameStop, get $3.99, and then just buy
That's
one of those little like,
$3.99. Don't get that confused.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yes.
I get myself one of those little retro consoles where it's like 900 games onto a little Nintendo.
Oh, the
device.
Soldier Boy special.
Yes, that's right.
He keeps getting in trouble for selling bootleg Chinese-made consoles with stolen ROMs for games. It's fucking amazing. He's done it like several times already.
He's a true
I
American.
totally don't have one of those jailbroken DSs at my house. I don't have one.
No,
I would
not at all.
never.
Listen,
I would never.
no. You can only have ROMs of the games you own. I just so happen to have owned all of those games.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying for them twice.
Oh man, what other consoles we got? here?
Did you want to talk about the handhelds as we're going through the main consoles?
We don't
or-
have to. I mean, I just wanted to acknowledge the self-defense and the shitty battery life
Yeah.
of that original,
And
the
they
original
were-
brick. that launched Pokemon
Yeah.
franchise. You know, like it was.
And I think the consoles probably saved Nintendo a lot of times and then allowed them to keep moving.
The
with
handhelds, yeah.
innovating new
Nintendo
consoles.
is the owner of the handheld space.
Oh, yeah.
They always have been, and even with the upcoming Steam Deck, we'll talk about later. That itself is not. I mean, it's a different category than
Right.
what Nintendo's doing.
I've always
anyway.
admired Nintendo's just for staying their like happy, bright, light self, regardless of like
Yes.
the future Xbox, PlayStation wars that we grew up with.
Mhm.
Right.
Nintendo just kind of was like, nah, we're over here jumping on
they-
turtles and
it's-
creating Pokemon.
They
and
knew their lane and they stayed in it.
Yeah.
And it was like, you can have either PlayStation and Xbox, cool, but you're gonna want a
What we-
Nintendo
when
if
you're
you
getting-
have a
if you're-
family setting.
If you're getting a second console, it's always going to be the Nintendo if you have one of the big boys already.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, so PlayStation and Xbox were the two people at the buffet fighting over the crab legs.
exactly.
And Nintendo was just sitting down eating the crab legs going, guys, stop, guys, no.
no, don't do that.
no.
No, okay, guys.
Oh, guys.
We'll make this crab leg radioactive and bring that Godzilla bitch.
Yeah, you're going to get thrown out, guys. Yeah, I've always respected Nintendo for that.
Well, I mean, PlayStation, though, it really had a fundamental impact in consoles, I think. Like, not to overlook it, when it came out, it started destroying the market as far as sales were concerned.
The CD, baby.
Yeah, and they are the ones who introduced, like, the memory sticks,
Yep.
the fancy controllers. I think that's the first time that I noticed third-party like controllers and memory,
Yeah, the memory
memory
cards,
card.
all that stuff.
You had to get that double density memory card with a little button on top to
Yep.
flip to the other
Oh,
side.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. I had got my PlayStation for free. It was actually
Stealing it is not getting it for free.
No,
We don't approve of theft on this
it
podcast.
was someone. It was someone Dad knew, and
I rest my case.
oh no, I got to be there for it.
That doesn't make
she
it
got-
any,
So
any
you were
less
brought
legit.
along for that.
her punishment to her son for not doing was just, here's your game console going to somebody else.
Oh my
Thanks,
Damn.
guys.
God.
Damn. And you didn't feel any remorse.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
I wouldn't either, to be honest. Fuck that kid. He deserved it. Does he have any CDs?
I didn't even know
Or
what
toys like G.I.
Yeah.
Joe's?
I didn't
want
even
those
know
too.
what the PlayStation was until I got it home and turned it on and went, oh, that poor bastard.
If you're listening now, kid, fuck you.
Sorry, Terry. I think you deserved it, according to your mom.
You remember his name.
Oh, your
Fuck
name's
yeah.
Terry?
His
Your
name-
name's Terry.
I remember it because it was Hulk Hogan's name. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck calls their kid Terry?
Terry is probably the second most unattractive name in the English language, right behind Keith.
Yeah.
If you're out there, Keith, fuck you.
Like, even Terry Hulk Hogan realized, like, I gotta call myself something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, well, how can I get furthest away from Terry? I'm Hulk.
Yes. And you're talking about, like, a 7-foot-tall, gigantic man, all muscle. He's like, Terry's a pretty fucking weak
Pretty
name.
weak name. Yeah.
Imagine if he walked out to the ring, and Terry! Yeah. Terry isn't lifting on
Terry
David
versus The Undertaker. I wonder who I'm betting on.
Hollywood Terry.
That's a gay porn if I've ever seen
Oh,
one.
yeah. it is.
Sega Saturn. Before we go too far into PlayStation, Sega.
Sure.
Did anyone?
Never
I only
played
know. I only
anything
know
on that console.
one person that had the Sega Saturn. The game was amazing. Everything else was a disappointment because like nothing else came out for the fucking thing. It just died as soon as it hit the shelves.
I think my mom's boyfriend had one, but he went to prison, so we don't have to.
It was because of the console.
Yeah, definitely.
If he would have been home with games to play,
If he-
none
yeah.
of that shit would have happened.
If he would have been playing Nintendo, he never would have.
He
at
wasn't.
That time.
He wasn't given his console by Terry's mom.
No.
So he had to go to jail.
That's
Shout
how
out to
it goes,
Michael
man.
doing 20 to life.
We'll send you a Sega Saturn when you get out.
Actually, prisons have their own gaming consoles.
Yeah, but are they Sega Saturns?
no, they're like 3 inches wide with like a 2-inch screen, and they are fucking terrible.
Hey, but look, in there, I
Hey,
bet
Mike's been in for
anything is better
15
than
years.
nothing.
Hey, Mike's been in there for 15 years. I'm sure that's not the only thing that's 3 inches wide.
God damn. Big enough to fit a memory card in there. All right, so Well, then we got to talk about the Sega Dreamcast. Probably the biggest flop
Oh, yeah.
for Sega. I think the Sega Dreamcast stopped them from making future consoles. They lost so much money dumping into Sega trying to keep it afloat that they decided after the Dreamcast
The only thing I think Dreamcast ever gave us was Shenmue.
Ooh, I never heard of that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a highly regarded JRPG. But yeah, I mean that's 2 console flops in a row that they had.
Yeah.
So you're saying, Dustin, that it killed their whole entire company?
I believe so. I believe at that point they were dumping so much money into commercials and promoting their consoles and into the game and the peripherals that they were just like, we're going to stop making consoles. We're going to keep what we can from Sega, like their Sonic the Hedgehog, and I believe they sold that to Nintendo.
I mean, technically,
or did they join forces with the Nintendo group?
they have their own IP, and they started releasing games.
Yeah, because today
on other consoles.
They're just making games today, right? They're
Yeah,
not,
they just do games now. But I mean, that console is what became the first Xbox. So everything that was there, that literally ended up becoming the prototype for Xbox. So Sega's 2 console miss, Saturn Dreamcast in a row that killed them, launched Microsoft. Because they literally took everything that was. They took, I believe, some of the development team and brought them in, and they made their own console.
So they basically took all the engine parts from like a Chevy, because Chevys are shitty cars, and then put it into like, I don't know, like a Porsche 911 body, and said, "Here we go. This is something different." And everybody's like, "I'm in."
well, the big thing was Xbox Live. That you got to remember, the first Xbox launched people actually playing live games. There was live games, but that was the first time people actually were playing them.
I'm just trying to imagine like sitting into a Porsche 911 Carrera and just turning the car on and a fucking Ford Escort engine fires.
You got a lawnmower engine in that motherfucker.
Like, not even 4-cylinder, like 3-cylinder.
So, but when the Xbox was out, it was a huge device. Like
gigantic.
It was a gigantic console. The controller was huge. It had a lot of great qualities to it, but it was overshadowed by the PS2 at the time.
The reason why the original Xbox was the size and shape that it was because it was literally all off-the-shelf parts. And they put it together, and then they just basically had to make a shell around it.
So they took the Sega Dreamcast, and then they just put an Xbox shell over top of it.
But that's why, especially the controller was so big, because they had designed everything they could, but they weren't going as deep as they could with custom parts because it was their first console. They just didn't have the budget to do that. So that the Duke controller, which is fucking, gigantic ball and chain you could swing at somebody's head, was purely just necessity of what they could do at the time.
So Doom was on the Xbox, correct?
Doom, the original Doom was actually for the Super Nintendo.
It was for the Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, yeah.
Interesting. And then Xbox picked it up.
Listen, Doom is on everything. You can put it on a TI fucking calculator.
No, because I'm trying to remember.
I seen a man put it on a pregnancy test screen. Some people go way hard with putting Doom on everything.
Congratulations, ma'am. It's a cacodemon.
They went so hard they, I believe, brought in The Rock to play in the Doom movie.
Now, the PlayStation era was definitely great for me.
Yeah, before we jump to PlayStation 2, though, we can't just skip right over Nintendo 64.
We absolutely can.
Why can't we?
Fuck that console. You know what?
Okay, Pokemon Snap.
And 007.
And I guess Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
The NWO Wrestling.
Back to the Ocarina.
The NWO Wrestling was fantastic. It was that and Ocarina of Time. That was probably the only... I played...
Pokemon Snap.
I never played Pokemon Snap.
Oh, man, it was so good.
because we're grown men.
Okay, come on. Come on.
He said, "Oh, come on, damn it."
That's why
that fucking hurts.
That's why I never played Pokemon Yellow and Red and Green and Diamond.
He's wearing Pokemon
Emerald.
underwear right now. So.
I literally had my brother make a jailbroken DS so that I could catch up to, like, what are we on, Generation 6 or 7 of Pokemon?
I did not buy my daughter a Switch so I can play the new Pokemon games.
Sounds oddly suspicious.
It is suspicious.
No, okay, so the 64, all right, we can definitely take a moment to acknowledge it. The controller was shit.
Oh yeah.
The analog system was shit.
Klingon warship.
But yes. They were trying to make a boomerang of controllers. It was just like, it was so bad.
You need three arms to play it.
Yeah, how can we ensure that anyone that buys this fucking thing is going to have arthritis in their 30s? How can we guarantee it?
But you know, it does have that nostalgia to it. Like, because even us, we were suckered into remembering how great playing 007 on the couch with our friends were, that we each invested time and money.
Yep.
We bought another console. We bought controllers. The game. We had beer.
One person's
food.
like, I can get a
Star
console.
Fox.
I can get the controllers.
You guys are right.
Someone else got the game.
We sat down in a room full of people, and I will tell you this: we started playing, and we were like, we remember exactly why this console is so shit.
Disappointed!
God damn.
Exactly.
It was so bad. I forgot that you had to run forward just to turn around because it was one analog stick.
Yep. Super Smash Brothers.
Oh man.
An appropriate fighting game for the fucking controller. Just absolute madness.
Because you wanted to smash your brother in the head with the controller because it was so trash. Oh man. I know. Now you have a brother, so me and my brother were very competitive playing games.
Yes.
Were you and your brother the same way when it come to like beating each other up in games?
Well, how far apart are you guys?
3 years.
3 years? Yeah. Me and my brother were like 4 years apart, so it was more of a one-sided beatdown. He got me a couple times.
I hear you.
He got me a couple times, but
everybody gets a lucky shot, you know.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us.
yeah. I remember the good old days though. Like, because me, like I said earlier, the most important system for me besides the Super Nintendo, which I might put at number one, would be the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
I mean, it's something about like it launched the Metal Gear Solid series. I
Oh
mean,
my God, yes.
Yeah, and then Hideo Kojima became a legend with Konami because of this system.
I look forward to what he does next, just because he does weird shit.
He does.
They dubbed the PlayStation the Sega Killer.
Yeah.
When it came
It did.
out.
It murdered it. It essentially murdered it.
It pushed it into 3. Nintendo stayed steady at 2, and PlayStation just smashed.
Yeah.
Surged to the top because you could play CDs on it. You could pump your music CDs in it and just start playing them. I mean, I remember the Final Fantasy VII commercials on television as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first big RPG with moving enemies. I mean, holy shit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember watching my brother watching those commercials, playing Alanis Morissette on his PlayStation.
Hey, Jagged Little Pill is an amazing album, you son of a bitch.
It actually is.
Isn't it the only album she made?
It's the only good album?
It's the only
good, yeah.
relevant album.
She was in, what was that? Was it Dogma?
She was.
Yeah, she played God.
She was God.
Yeah.
And she dated the man from Full House, the man that nobody cared about.
And then wrote a song about him.
Yes.
Joey? Oh,
Isn't it ironic?
yes, Joey, yes.
A diss track, if you will.
Yes.
Yes, a great diss track. It actually made me like him more. I'm like, it's kind of a player.
Yeah, but you know, the PlayStation gave us Resident Evil. It gave us Crash Bandicoot, which is Nelson's favorite.
The worst game of any and every console.
If it wasn't hard enough then, the new version of it is even harder. Congratulations.
Gran Turismo, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Just PlayStation 1 had just monsters.
Yeah.
And also, I think a lot of the PlayStation kids can remember the Duke Nukem game that launched with the console.
Dude, Nukem.
And kids today will never understand the struggle of battling through warthog aliens to get to a strip club to see a pixelated tit and then make a big deal about it. I mean, to this day, I mean, that tit had one pink pixel at the center of it. And we made a huge deal about it. I still remember battling my way through the city, trying to get to the strip club in time so that I could see this brief moment of pixelated tit.
I think the only other female in a video game console that was chased down was the blue girl.
Yeah.
In Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of have like that makeshift sex scene via talking.
Yeah.
And then it went dark and you woke up like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, a majority of the people that played Mass Effect were in it for the aliens.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They were in it for alien sex.
Alien sex is the way to go. Ask Kirk.
Shout out to Liara of Mass Effect, and the entire Asari race.
Listen, there's people that play Witcher 3 for the same reason.
Yes.
Yeah, but The Witcher 3 has some good sex scenes in it. I mean, I'm not even, you know.
So
I played that by myself a lot, you know what I'm saying? Honey, you can go to bed. You got a big morning tomorrow. I'm going to stay up and play The Witcher 3.
goddamn right.
Yeah. Why is there coconut all over the living room? Don't worry about it.
I hear it's good for your skin.
Yeah. It helps with my Witcher spells.
Yeah. No, but I mean, sticking with the PlayStation 2 was such a dominant force. I think it was one of the highest grossing
It was the highest selling console of all time.
Yeah. So I mean, the PlayStation 2 for me like led the way in like
Grand
gaming.
Theft Auto 3, God of War. I mean, now we're talking about
the PlayStation 2 for me, that was right when I graduated high school. So I had a proper job, my own money, and no bills, and a tremendous amount of free time. That's what started all of my playing of JRPGs, and I think I played enough of them on there that it killed some of my desire to play JRPG. I was playing like
Final Fantasy X.
like 2 a month probably, like right when school, and those are like 100+ hour games easy.
Yep.
It like get home, play, wake up, go to work, beat the game, get the next one, keep moving.
Yeah, and silly me, I was at the club with the girls, having fun, drinking liquor.
Some people have a proper social life.
Yeah, you know.
Some people have their video games.
Other people have a PS2. You know, hey, it's whatever. It's whatever. Potato.
That was another console that I got for free.
Now, was SSX Tricky a part of the PS2 family or a part of the PS1
I think it
family?
was PS2.
Yeah.
PS1 was Cool Borders.
Yeah, Cool Boy. Okay.
Yes.
So SSX Tricky, one of my favorite games. And then also Need for Speed Underground.
Yeah.
Was probably the
Yeah.
only racing game I played all the way through. It probably gave me the reason why I watch all the Fast and Furious movies right now, even though they're flying motherfuckers into space.
That's the reason. Yeah.
It's about the family.
Yeah, it's all about family.
It's all about family.
One of my favorite games in the PlayStation 2, it's actually a hidden gem, is it was called RAD. It stood for Robot Alchemic Drive.
Nice.
If you're a fan of like Japanese monster movies or just giant robot manga or anime in general, it was fantastic. You could literally control your character, but you could only control your character or your giant robot at the same time, not both. So you would need to fly your little character, who'd have like jet boots on or some shit,
Right.
up to the top of a building to get a good vantage point of the city. Then switch to your robot, try to maneuver through the city and not destroy enough stuff because you got the bill. You got the bill at the end of the level. However much destruction you caused, that yen came out of your account. Like,
So you signed those accords.
oh yeah.
So you had to pay for
When
it
you
all.
fired your beam can across the city and you saw it slam into the fucking children's hospital, you felt it. You felt it. You no.
It wasn't the love for the children being destroyed. It was the bill that you were getting.
It was the 10
wallet,
billion. It was the 10 billion yen that was going to come out of your account.
I was about to ask, how many yen does a child's life cost?
Billions. There's definitely a number on it. Billions. So yeah, for anyone that has an emulator or if you still have a PS2 sitting around somewhere, I know they were discontinued in 2013, but anyway, Robot Alchemic Drive, it's a classic and it's still a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, if you can find the right version of the PlayStation 3, you can still get some PlayStation 2 games played.
Oh, man.
You got to find the original Fat Boy though. That had basically both chipsets inside.
I know a couple fat boys. You know.
Oh man, no, there was also what was that game where you were like demolition derby driving heavy metal? Was it
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal.
I don't know what happened to that game, by the way.
They
it was a great game
They
for a
tried
while.
bringing it back.
Yeah,
It
they
just-
tried to breathe life into it.
It
It's
didn't
just,
work.
yeah.
It didn't work. No, that was just a fun game to pick up and play, destroy your friends, and laugh. I think that probably
Yeah.
had a lot to do with it too. Because
Shout out to the child murdering, ice cream truck driving,
Yeah.
fire clown,
Yes.
Sweet Tooth.
I think Grand Theft Auto probably killed that game because you could do all those things in the world of Grand Theft.
Grand
Auto.
Theft Auto killed a lot of shit. I mean,
Yeah, it
Well,
really did.
well, I mean, from there forward, you do start seeing a lot of couch co-op disappearing.
yeah.
I mean, the next big game you could think of from like Twisted Metal that you hit with couch co-op is all the way out until like what, Borderlands?
Yeah.
yeah.
You really, beyond that, you know, the couch co-op basically disappeared for the fact of pushing as much pixels on the screen as possible, and you just can't do that when you're trying to.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like right now we're kind of greedy with our screen, right? Like the TVs are getting bigger and bigger,
Yes.
right? And you want all of the screen time. And if I had to go split screen with somebody, I'd kind of be pissed. You know what I mean? Like I want all of my screen so I know
Two
how to
people
murder
max.
you
If you got a
properly.
big enough screen, 2 people max.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's,
When
know.
you start getting into like 4,
Yeah, no.
you're like,
Not
oh.
happening.
And that's why I was so disappointed with Dark Alliance. It's the type of game where you're going to be on one screen even though there's 2 people playing. It's a far enough away view.
Disappointed.
I have a button, sir.
Yeah, but then you can do the game like you can Marvel Ultimate Alliance,
Yes.
where you can easily put four people on the same screen.
Because it just
Yes.
zooms out a little farther.
Me and my brother and 2 of his friends beat that in 2 days.
It was an
entire-
amazing game.
It was a great
It was
game.
a lot of fun.
You could pick the Hulk and just power double leg
Yes.
someone and punch their head into the ground. Yeah, that's all I needed. That's
I think
all
I
I needed.
spent a day in the simulator alone.
Yeah, just leveling up.
Beefing up my character to
Yes.
the point where I'm just running through all of them.
And then you got bonuses the more you knew about Marvel Comics. Like if you picked all the Fantastic Four, you got a bonus. If you picked
Yes.
all X-Men, you got
Yes.
a bonus. Like there
Well,
was
what's amazing is there was essentially a online version of that created, and they got rid of it for this last Marvel Avengers game that was a complete piece of shit. It was online. It basically went completely under the radar. I only found out about it on the last month of its life when the license was sold, and it was excellent. It was essentially Alliance, but beefed up, where you'd be on the map, you'd be running around. There might be 100 other people in the map, and it was all live events where things would happen and people would just jump in and out, and everybody was playing, and you had like 100 items that you could equip on your guy. It was absolutely absurd. The game was fantastic,
So-
and it just disappeared.
was that was that Marvel's response to the DC Universe Online?
It was kind of,
Okay.
but it was essentially Ultimate Alliance 3 is really what it was.
right.
But it was all online, so it was, it's what Destiny should have been. Events happening all the time, people just jump in and they're helping everybody.
Right.
You're never at the point where you have to have people playing on your mic at the same time to get things done. It just worked.
Yeah.
I would say, I know your two biggest picks were the Super NES and the PlayStation.
one, yeah.
For me, to this day, my favorite console has to be the Xbox 360.
Not the GameCube.
Not the GameCube. Fuck the GameCube.
Not
Listen,
the GameCube.
No.
But let me remind you of the controller that had.
listen, no, listen.
That look
We're
at
talking
that.
about good times.
Look
We're
at
talking
that.
about good times. It
Come
was-
on, it's Thanos purple.
I was going to say Barney purple because Thanos does not deserve that. It's a fucking eggplant
But look,
emoji.
it's got all
So-
kinds of colors like
Oh,
the
look
gems.
at that controller.
No, but when you think about gaming
Yeah.
consoles,
You like the N64, right? Now it
I
now
quit.
it now it
I'm
go-
out of here. Fuck this shit.
now the controller goes in your ass and your pussy.
No, okay, come on. The 360. Help me out, guys. Help me out. No, when you thought of like the best time you had gaming online in the modern era, it was the 360. The
Absolutely.
lobbies were great. The headsets, the controllers, they had so many games. That was actually probably the best time for the GameStop as well, because when you went into the GameStop, it was just walls of games. People weren't afraid to innovate new things for the console because it was so user friendly, and everybody wasn't so heavily dependent upon like it's Call of Duty 37, it's Halo 93. It's because I think that kind of killed some of the new games that was fun, like when the Crackdown came out or other little games that you played for a little while and then you jump back into your
yeah, the
mainstay
360 made Xbox Live something you needed.
game. Yes.
It gave us the red ring of death.
Oh,
Let's not bring up the red ring, please.
I
I
had
have PTSD flashbacks.
I had
Coming home every day wondering if my console was gonna crash.
I'm a PlayStation guy. I don't understand this.
I had the first run of the consoles. Never ringed on me.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But he did also lube it with baby oil every night.
There we go.
He talked to it and watered it.
Is it lonely on your mountain, Ed?
You got to treat it right. It didn't
Yes,
ring
right,
on me
yeah.
though. Everyone else is
Yeah.
failing.
See, Nelson, while you were at the club being a hoe bag, Ed was treating his console right.
My console never failed me.
his
Nelson would
console
come home
was
drunk. Nelson came home drunk and threw up on his Xbox. Turn on, you piece of shit. I want to kill the Covenant.
No,
No,
but-
all right. I'm a PlayStation guy. You guys know this. You gang up and we beat the fuck out of me all the time.
yes.
constantly
Yeah, I mean,
about
everybody could be wrong about something.
I know exactly. I do have to credit the Xbox and the Xbox 360. Even though I was a PlayStation kid, I will always be a PlayStation kid. I did own an Xbox and an Xbox 360. They had fantastic games.
Yes.
They had the Halo series. I literally, one of my favorite BioWare games of all time, Jade Empire, was released for the original Xbox. To this day, it's probably my favorite. Even Mass Effect, it is my favorite BioWare game. I really wish they would just do something with it. I think Knights of the Old Republic was on Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Xbox had Titan games, and I have to really thank Xbox for the first time I played an Elder Scrolls game. The Elder Scrolls
Yes.
3 Morrowind was on an Xbox. It wasn't PC.
Yeah.
Which
No,
that one I did play on PC.
The Xbox was really smart about pumping out games and holding on to franchises,
Yes.
which is something that they've managed to do successfully with the newer consoles. Cue the Hulk music for me. So, Ian, I come to understand that you don't have one of the newer consoles at the moment.
No Starfield, sir.
It's really sad because
It's true. I only have a PlayStation 4.
No Elder Scrolls 6.
I won't be playing it.
no Gears of War 5 or Halo Master Edition.
Todd Howard, you son of a bitch.
He turned his back on you, sir.
Why, Todd?
No, but no, man, don't bring it back.
I'm super happy about the Bethesda getting bought out by Xbox. That's just great.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
They've managed to
I
really
put over
steal.
I put over 600 hours into Skyrim, Todd. You piece of shit. Like, how can you do this to us?
I mean, but what's happening with the PlayStation and all the games that they're not getting? Are you considering maybe getting an Xbox Series X at this point, or are you gonna really stick to your guns as a PlayStation diehard and buy it and then just wipe dust off of it?
I think I'm gonna wait and hope that like Todd throws us a bone in like 2024 and gives us
They've already said no.
no Elder Scrolls.
It
Well,
seems as if they're giving up on the system.
Well, they're. I mean, you don't spend billions of dollars to allow your games to go to other consoles. That's just the way it is. Right. So anything that hasn't been announced for other consoles or hasn't been contracted out to other consoles are only going to be on PC and Xbox. Even the games that were exclusives, a lot of them, PlayStation would get exclusives, but they would get timed exclusive. Yeah. So it'd be timed, and by the time that time went up, nobody would care about the game anymore, so it wouldn't come out somewhere else. That's going to be different now, because the games that are timed exclusive, that were purely going to be on PlayStation, they're going to end up coming out on Xbox now. That's already come out. Like, hey, they didn't have a full exclusive. They had a 2-year, they had a 3-year. At the end of that time, that bitch is going to be on Game Pass.
I already went through a dark ages with the PS3. I mean, as a PlayStation kid, I mean, there was very little JRPGs on the PlayStation 3, and all the major good games were coming from the Xbox 360.
Yep.
Yeah. So I already went through an entire era of getting my ass kicked, and having to, at least I had a 360.
From what I understand, the Xbox is outselling the PlayStation in Japan.
Well,
you know what? That's a good sign.
It's great that people are actually getting their fucking hands on them, because I had to buy it like third market. Like, I had to meet the guy in the parking lot. Like, he had brought like 4 of his best friends to make sure I'm not going to rob him. I just brought my brother because we're jiu-jitsu, purple belts, and we're not worried about these motherfuckers. A little Kimura, a little Americana.
A little inverted heel hook. You know what I mean?
But we bought it. Like, I'm like, same time, man. I don't know you. Same time. He's like counting the money. I'm opening the box there. He's like, oh, yeah, you might want to check that it's in there. Like, yeah. I don't want to go home and find there's some fucking bricks that I paid $600 for, like.
I got mine day one for the proper price.
Oh, yeah.
He was ahead of the curve. He pre-ordered it like a proper person should have at the time, but nobody could really anticipate that the pandemic was going to hit and there was going to be a shortage on...
the Chinese could.
I mean...
They probably have all the Xboxes and PlayStations. That was their plan all along.
I mean,
attack the world with a pandemic so
the
that
sales,
they could control
the sales
market.
numbers every month for the new consoles are purely down to how many each company can make. Right. That's what it. So the one I think this past month, Xbox outsold PlayStation. It just came down to the fact that they made more of them that month.
Right.
It's not even. It's not even a competition of who wants what more. It's who's making them.
I think I'm holding out for the PlayStation 5, and I'm putting a lot of my faith in Final Fantasy 16 and Dragon Quest 12, and because they're going to be released specifically for the PlayStation. Yeah. And I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, this could crash and burn in my face, and I might.
It's a lot of money you're putting out.
I know, and next year I might show up with an Xbox shirt on. I mean, it is what it is. But I promise to you right now, you can mark it on this episode, that if the PlayStation takes a big old steamy one in my mouth, and Dragon Quest 12 sucks, and Final Fantasy 16 sucks, I will sell my PlayStation.
Okay.
I will come back here next year. I will wear an entire Xbox outfit on this
That's
podcast.
fantastic. Wait, can you also wear a Halo Master Chief helmet for the podcast?
I think we could find one.
The entire episode?
I will buy one for the episode for you to wear a Halo Master Chief helmet.
Deal.
All right. Well, listen, we're gonna end it right there because that is the best deal that we can get. So cue the exiting music, Ed. And this is fantastic. And in the great words of the TVA, for all time, always. Oh, man. Hey, Ed, how about you tell them where to find us? Hey, do your fucking job, bro.
Sofa Kingdom OFC on all the relevant social media platforms.
Goddamn right.
Woo!
Good shit, guys.
What the fuck have I got myself into?
Oh, that was great. Listen, I'm gonna order that shit right now.
We didn't even talk about the Steam Deck. That's twice now.
We never got the PS4.
Yeah, listen.
Didn't mention PC games.